So it looked like Asia Wilson, close friends, is definitely taking jabs.
Have you noticed what just occurred? After Caitlin Clark was named the Times Athlete of the Year, a friend of Aja Wilson attacked her online. However, this goes beyond a single honor. It's much more extensive than that. The dramatic events that are pulling the WNBA apart are about to begin. This story has it all, including allegations of racism and covert social media efforts. And I promise you that what you're going to discover will permanently alter your perspective on women's basketball. Caitlin Clark had an absolutely amazing collegiate season. She won the Naismith College Player of the Year award and led the NCAA in scoring at 27 points per game. Fans couldn't get enough of her thrilling play, and her popularity soared. Then Time magazine made a shocking revelation. Caitlin Clark was selected their Athlete of the Year. It ought to have been an entirely joyous occasion, wouldn't it? Not everybody was cheering, though. After an amazing debut season, WNBA phenom Caitlin Clark can now add another title to her impressive list of accolades for her on-court prowess times 2024 Athlete of the Year. The ruckus in Aja Wilson's camp began instantly. Clark, they said, didn't deserve the prize. Is it not unbelievable? Aja Wilson should have won instead, according to WNBA icon Cheryl Swoops and Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson. The retaliation was severe and quick. People observed how these remarks appeared to disregard Clark's contribution to game growth, and what do you know? Some uncomfortable facts were revealed by the entire situation. All of this drama has an undercurrent of racial animosity. Some claim that Clark's victory was solely due to her race. They seem to be attempting to downplay her outstanding accomplishments and the influence she has had on women's basketball. However, this is when the intriguing part begins. Following the announcement of the prize, social media went crazy. Dolores Jordan, a close friend of Aja Wilson, who was once active on Twitter, wrote, "This piece sparked a torrent of criticism, much of which echoed a sentiment." Dolores Jordan had argued that Aja Wilson, rather than Clark, ought to have received the honor. Let's take a moment to dissect this. Jordan's remarks were more than just a viewpoint. They disregarded Clark's enormous influence on the WNBA and downplayed her amazing achievements. Caitlin Clark's captivating on-court personality is largely responsible for the surge in social media activity and TV ratings. Aja Wilson and Clark are just not on the same level when it comes to their contributions to the league. And let's take a moment to discuss skill. Clark has more than just amazing talent. It's remarkable. Her logo range shots and no-look passes are just extraordinary. She also owns the record for the most assists in a season and has broken 64 records. Therefore, it is completely incorrect to imply that she will win. The most absurd aspect is that this Time magazine award controversy was only the start. Things were going to get much messier as Clark's ascent to prominence was set to clash with the WNBA's established elite. Aja Wilson has made disparaging remarks about Caitlin Clark before. Wilson appears to have made it her goal to make Clark's first season a nightmare, whether directly or indirectly. Let's examine some of the things she has done to make Clark's life more difficult. Do you recall when Caitlin Clark signed the Nike contract we were discussing? It was a staggering $28 million. Well, everyone is talking about Aja Wilson's response. Did she just do it? Let's just say that Aja Wilson wasn't overly happy when she took to Twitter. Fan confusion is the result of her tirade about race and recognition. Is it not unbelievable that she implied Clark's success was solely due to her race? In essence, Caitlin Clark is receiving this just because of her race once more. Wilson stated in a tweet that she will never receive the same kind of notoriety as Clark, regardless of her efforts. She even said that race is the main factor in Clark's appeal. You may be asking yourself, wait a second, doesn't Aja Wilson already have a signature shoe? And you're right, that's what's so odd about this whole thing. Why is Wilson so furious about Clark's success when she already has the kind of deal that most athletes only dream about? Supporters are not holding back, denouncing Aja as selfish, ungrateful, and jealous. It is comparable to witnessing a favorite player score an own goal. What about her sponsors? You can't help but wonder if they're secretly worried about all the hoopla because they haven't said anything yet. In the most unexpected turn of events, Nike took a risky move to try to avoid upsetting Aja Wilson or other well-known black athletes. They completely stopped making Caitlin Clark's iconic shoes. Nike hasn't released a single commercial or advertisement showcasing Clark since she became a professional. And even though Nike and Clark have a contract, the debut of a signature shoe might not happen until 2026, according to sports analyst Ethan Strauss. According to him, Nike wants to give Aja Wilson priority because it is concerned about the perception of awarding a signature shoe to a rookie before a well-known player who just took home the league MVP award for the third time. To be quite honest, Caitlin Clark is far more marketable than Wilson Aya. On and off the court, Clark's personality and star power have made her a household figure. Aja, meantime, hasn't nearly drawn the same kind of public notice in spite of her extraordinary talent. There's more, though. As you may expect Aja to step back and log off, she goes all out, intensifying her social media outburst. Hold on tight. Aja Wilson continues to garner attention for all the wrong reasons. This season, Clark broke more than 64 records and put up incredible performances for a rookie. Her accomplishments have made headlines, garnering her several honors and significant sponsorship deals. However, the question, what about Aja Wilson, seems to follow every time she rises. It appears as though people are intent on unfairly disparaging Clark's diligence and well-earned achievement by setting these two celebrities against one another. The problem is that Aja doesn't have to defend Clark or herself, but rather than allowing her to, she adds needless drama and fuels the narrative on Twitter, saying that achievements speak for themselves. She seems to be purposefully maintaining the tension instead of allowing it to subside organically. Caitlin Clark has frequently been at the epicenter of drama and controversy. With a straightforward declaration or tweet stating that she has no problem with Clark, Aja Wilson may easily end the situation. A few words could resolve the conflict and provide much-needed calm. Rather, she fueled the flames and further embroiled Clark in controversy. When was it a compliment to be referred to as a probable unanimous MVP? Not in the world of Aja Wilson, anyway. Even her most loyal followers couldn't figure out what she was going to do next. This is what took place. Basketball veteran turned analyst Rebecca Lobo made a straightforward comment regarding Aja's prospects of winning MVP, implying that if she continued to perform well, she might have unanimous support. Not a huge thing, is it? An innocuous remark became a full-fledged commotion among Aja's admirers. On social media, they criticized Lobo for allegedly insulting their idol, but here's the odd thing. Aja did not intervene to mediate the situation. Rather, she led her admirers to go crazy, perhaps taking pleasure in the mayhem. As a pro blafer Aja Wilson concludes the WNBA is more, let's go back a little. On the court, Caitlin Clark and Aja Wilson have experienced some emotional moments. Things didn't last long on the court, but we're talking about intense competition, plays that change the course of games, and the kind of rivalry that excites spectators. Everyone is baffled by the shocking revelation that Aja Wilson just made. She claims that Caitlin Clark's admirers scare her. Yes, you heard correctly. According to reports, Wilson, one of the WNBA's most formidable players, is afraid of Clark's fans. The problem is that children and teenagers make up the majority of Clark's fan base. We are referring to young ladies who view these athletes as role models. You may be wondering how a group of children can terrify a professional athlete. Everyone else is wondering the same thing. Families and young fans frequently flood the Indiana Fever's arena to support their favorite players. The surroundings isn't particularly hostile. Anyone who has watched the Indiana Fever is aware of, because nearly all the fans are young girls. Teenage girls, possibly younger ones. The girls are 9 or 10 years old. The great bulk of the fans are like that. Let's face it, the great majority of the supporters are wealthy parents who are thrilled that their children enjoy playing basketball. Many wealthy fathers are simply thrilled that their young daughters are interested in basketball and bring them games. The great majority of the children in the crowd are similar to anyone I know that spins to the game bridge. Why, therefore, would Wilson assert this? Some believe it's all a part of a larger scheme. The idea of relocating the Indiana All-Star Game has been discussed. As it happens, Wilson's remarks about being afraid to play that were made at approximately the same moment. Is it a coincidence? Perhaps not. This is where things start to get interesting, though. Wilson's camp swiftly turned around as soon as individuals began to make connections between these dots. They denied that her remarks had anything to do with the location of the All-Star Game. However, the harm had already been done. I believe that our fear of playing in Indiana was an attempt to qualify for the All-Star Game. Relocated from Indiana, something that would never be possible, because she quickly stopped talking as soon as people began phoning and that conspiracy thought began to emerge. Let's also discuss how the media is involved in all of this. Are they merely news reporters? Are they stoking the flames instead? It's time to start challenging our assumptions about how sports coverage affects us. This is the crucial query that remains. Will this feud between Clark Wilson and the WNBA make or ruin the league? Drama, on the one hand, attracts viewers, but at what price? Will the league be able to expand with this kind of attention, or is it rupturing it from the inside out? The evidence is in front of you. You have to make a decision now. Will you give in to the drama, or insist on better conditions for women's basketball. How fans like you react to the situation may determine the WNBA's future.